someone that doesn't need any introducing, but just for everybody, tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah, I do have a new role. I've been with Criteo 5 years. This is my fourth new role. So that is definitely
Wow.
change and transformation and it's been good. So I am president of retail media for Criteo. So I lead our retail media division holistically across all of our markets. And that is everything from commercial and operations as well as product strategy and engineering.
Wow. So a small job.
It's a fun job. It's a
A big
fun
job.
job.
That's a
I love
big
it.
job.
I love it.
And speaking of, I know you can't talk too much about it, but there has been a lot of exciting news about Criteo being the first OpenAI partner. So anything you can say about that?
I mean, we are so excited. And we are so excited to be the first technology partner for OpenAI. And you can feel it throughout the organization. We just held an all hands and we held two this past week. We've moved with such great speed to get this
Mhm.
moving. The integration's already live. Brands are already activating, and we've got a full pipeline. It's our pilot, so we're definitely in pilot phase. We're testing and learning together. The inbound interest, Melissa, it's like you come across these things like maybe once in a lifetime. And I mean, it's like blowing up between brands and agencies and retail partners. So, it's giving us that front row seat into seeing how things are shaped and making sure that, you know, we are taking a very leadership, I guess, view of how AI driven experiences really add value
Mhm.
and feel relevant, but in a way that users can trust. That's very important. It's got to be grounded in user trust. So right now, there's a lot of back and forth and test and learn, across that. Just making sure you think about some of our advertiser base, maybe versus what is right or wrong. So it's been a fun one. It's been fun to learn.
Well, I think it's really important, and that's we also have the first to market mentality too. When you're early, you're helping these partners develop their APIs, you're giving quick feedback. I mean, this is how we all grow and learn together as an industry. So I'm excited to see that and look forward to hearing more as you reveal more things as you go in. But
Thank you.
there's something that you and I share. We've been talking about this a little bit, and I wanted to bring it up, and that is dressing for success. And you and I both go to a lot of conferences. We're on stages, we're speaking on panels, and there's always that thing the night, you're packing. No matter what, it doesn't matter who you are, you're always thinking about what should I wear, what should I pack, warm weather, cold weather, all kinds of questions. So we're gonna talk a little bit about your hacks and your tricks and how you think about it, being the expert that you are. But
But
first question is, do you check your bag or do you carry on?
oh, goodness sakes, carry on. Always carry on. And I've gotten better. So I can't say it has always been carry on, but I have learned. I have learned so much about carry on. In fact, I think we talked about this. This is my first time going to CES where I actually carried on. I was so proud of myself. There are trade-offs. The shoe options can be a trade-off, but you can make it work where there's a will, there is a way. And so it is all carry on. I've seen too many horror stories and I've actually
Mhm.
experienced them myself, but fortunately for as much as I travel, and I'm sure as much as you, I mean, it hasn't been too bad, but just the ease too. I want to get on, I want to get off, and I want to get home. So, it's important, it's important.
I'm a carry-on. I got an away luggage bag, and that one has been that's my tip is I like away the best out of
Oh
some of
yeah.
the bags. It has like the best compartments and all that kind of stuff. So that's my go-to.
I second that. I've tried them all. I love an away. I have an MZ Wallace that goes on top.
Mm.
It's a nice like flexible duffel, and you get your two, and you are good to go. Everything goes in there, and then really easy, like tote bags that you can bring like your laptop that just pack away. I'll add on. I love it. I used to watch a ton of packing videos. It was like kind of therapy.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so do you have any go-to travel or packing hacks that help you look polished while still being comfortable? And are there any non-negotiables that you always pack?
I think it's super helpful to bring things that mix and match. So,
Hmm.
I think that is a big one. I think always having a backup outfit, especially if you're just not feeling it. I'm one of these people, I actually dress for my day every day when I'm at home. I don't like to, I'm not someone that sets out clothes for the week. And so to have to pack, that was one of the things that kind of used to, contain my creativity. So I bring the mix and match, I bring that back up. I think a thing, it's a hack and it's also what I can't live without is a good elevated comfortable jean. Like they have like the sweat pattern jeans right now that just look like
Hmm.
jeans, regular jeans. I've got like three of them and I rotate and they can go into the office. I wore mine into the office yesterday while I traveled as well. And so I love those are like an elevated, like really comfy. Lululemon has one. I don't do a lot of Lululemon, but I swear by these. They're like a really nice black pants that look
Mm.
professional for the office, but they don't look like you're, traveling in your pajamas. And you can just go right into the office. But yeah,
Rag and Bone, I think, is the sweatpant looking like
they
jean
are.
thing.
Yes, they are. Listen, they're pricey, but they are worth it. I mean, my cost per wear is like through the roof. Truly, they always go with me on the way out and on the way back.
Well,
So
I just bought my first pair, so I love them and I'm with you on that. Okay, so speaking about conferences and speaking, because I've had some people ask me these kind of questions. They're a first-time speaker, they're doing a keynote. What do you do on stage to get prepared? Do you have any tips to help people when you're doing presentations? Because you've got a team that's amazing that helps you, right?
yep.
They help you prep with talking points sometimes, but what are your tips and tricks?
Yeah, well, you're right, and thank you for calling it out. You know how great this team is, and the Criteo team is by far and away. But I think even before they get involved, for all of us, it's really about starting with the audience and understanding what are you there for? Not only who is the audience, but and the messaging that you need to convey, that you want to convey, or you know, the industry knowledge that you're going to share, but also to what are the key takeaways, that you want to prepare. So I always think about trying to provide some real ideas that are going to land, and that typically starts with some storytelling. I think
Mhm.
storytelling just helps when you can connect kind of the concept to something personal or something that people can relate to. It can make the complex like really easy to understand. I also try to leave with a takeaway that people will remember. You know, People are going to remember about 10%, right, of what they hear. And so we just had our sales leadership summit. And one a good example was, the end of my speech was about we shape it. And I mean, if anything that they probably took away, it's we shape it. And I want them to take that away, like take away that position of authority. And so I try to kind of think about that in everything that I do is just like, what's the one thing that they're going to think about?
That's great. Great advice. Conferences for this year. There's kind of the same ones, but what's on your radar? Is there anything new that you're going to? What are you up to? Where are you going? And anything new?
You know, newer is possible. I think possible has gotten better and better, but this is their third or fourth year. I started their original year. Yeah, and so I'm excited about that one. I think it is definitely the prepped can. And it's exciting to see the attendees and just the way that, especially in the retail media side, how, many of them are showing up for these events. I do love Ascendant. I have to give it up to Susan. She's done just such a fantastic job of just curating the retail brand and agency teams to come together. I think that's really kind of what makes things powerful is when you've got it's not just the content that you deliver, but also too just the conversations that you're going to have. And so all of them kind of have that in common. I'll be going to Mexico. I managed to skip OMR, nothing against OMR, but my gosh, I went once and I'm like, thank you, no. It is massive. It's impressive, but it is massive. So that possible is probably the newest, I would say.
All right. So, on to a leadership question. If you were advising an aspiring leader today, what skills would you tell her to master first to accelerate her path to leadership?
I've been saying this to the team, so I think it's important to say it here. Curiosity is going to take you far. It's not new, it's not innovative, but I will say it's one of the most important things right now, especially with
Mhm.
where things are at. And so I think be curious. I'm a big fan of using your time the best way possible. So, and what I mean by that, so outside of curiosity and kind of, and you can get that through a number of different things. I'm one, I love to listen to podcasts. So
Hmm.
podcast and using your time wisely. And it's not all like love the CPG guys, but it's not just them. And I really do enjoy listening to them. But it's also like things that are going to inspire. It can be something personal. I'm enjoying right now how leaders lead. That's one that I love some good takeaways. And I need that right now because it's very inspirational. And as you think about transformation and change and kind of the leadership role that I'm in. So I found that I kind of gravitate towards things for the moment that I'm in. And you can use your time wisely by listening to that podcast on the plane, or while you're walking through the streets of New York or as you're traveling through the airport. And so I love a little time management, a little bit of learning. Those are,
Hmm.
and that all goes with curiosity. So,
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, last question for you is what would your team say is your superpower or X factor?
so this one's a fun one because I just had the Fun 360 done. Oh, crazy. Who
Oh,
doesn't
good.
love Fun 360?
Then
So
you have a lot of information, huh?
I did. You gotta love a good 360. So I've been told, and I've been told this before, but that I can turn the complexity into more of this collective momentum. And the way that that translates is being able to really, connect teams, create alignment without drama, moving people forward together. And you have to have that. I embrace change. I really love change. It's not always easy, but I think when you believe in the common cause and you can turn the complex into something that's really clear and build that trust, people will move in the same direction and they can do it in high pressure moments. Which we have. And so that's what I've been told is a superpower. Now, I'm glad, thankfully, you're not asking, hopefully, what they told me I could work on. But that one I was told, but that one I'm really proud about that. And I've been told I bring together teams in a really good fashion where they feel they can trust one another and they work well together. So
Well, we've got a lot of change happening in our industry right now, as we always do, but it's never felt more than now. It feels
yeah,
like we're in that
yeah.
tipping point stage. I think you mentioned this at CES with me, where 2026 feels like 2020 on speed, where we're changing and it's exciting. And it's great to see all the innovation coming from Criteo. So happy to be partners and happy to continue into the path of 2026 on that train,
Well,
speeding.
you're fabulous. I'm so impressed with what you've done, Melissa. So thank you so much. It's the feeling's mutual for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.